Now we move to this concept of publication and why it's so recommended. This is what we are going to discover in this final part of the presentation, okay? So what is the publication? Let's imagine that I have a bird sending information to three different birds, okay? One part drives three different parts. So what is the publication? The publication is that this red bird creates or publish this information needed from the other birds. It's like he published them online, okay? He takes all the information that the other birds need and make them online. Now, each time the birds need an information, they don't go to the red bird. They go to this publication. Okay, so he said all the information he needs online, don't bother me anymore. Later, if this bird, the red bird, want to modify this website or this publication, he can do it easily. Okay, while the yellow part, the different birds still have access to the same website. So this is the publication, is to simplify or facilitate the communication between the driving part and the driven part, the contextual part receiving the information from it. Let's see better what is this publication. Okay, so the publication is created inside the tree. This is the location of the published element. Let's imagine you have this tree, and the publication are created outside the part, inside the instance, outside the part. So an instance is a copy or is a representation of the part. So the same part may have many instances, okay, with different colors, for example, okay. The publications are created inside the instance, outside the part. And these elements, these four elements are the published elements. Okay, these are the information online used by the different parts and the different birds. The publication is at this level. Okay, so we have this original data. Instead of making a copy of this original data and make it as an external reference, instead of that, we made this new element, which is the published element. This published element, sorry for that. This published element is like a shortcut, and the external reference is like a linked copy. We know that the external references is a copy with link to the original data, but with publication, the copy was made to the original data, but through this shortcut. This is a shortcut, okay? This is not an independent geometry. I cannot isolate this shortcut. I cannot isolate it. I cannot make of him a new geometry, okay? So this is just a representation. As I said, it's a shortcut, okay? This is not a geometry, not a parameter. It's a shortcut to the original data. So the copy, the external references, is a copy of the original data through this shortcut. This is the publication, okay? And it's made especially to facilitate the access to the original data, like shortcuts in Windows. If I make a shortcut, for example, I have a design project folder. This, what I am selecting now, is a shortcut. I'm not selecting the original folder. This shortcut allows me to open the folder very quickly. Okay? In CATIA, I can make the same shortcut, link it to other folders. We'll say that later, okay? So first, how to make a publication. So to make a publication, we have to activate the part, go to tools, and select the element we want to publish. Here's just a remark that we can publish element inside parts or inside assemblies. Let's say, or inside instances of parts or inside assemblies. Let's see how to make a publication first. Let's isolate this one too. Component isolate, okay? So to make a publication, you have to activate the part, for example, this part. Go to tools and select or click publication. Now I can select the geometry I want to publish. Sorry, let's be consistent as I said. Let's make this driving part, the blue part as the driving part. And these publications are created inside the driving parts, okay, not inside the driven parts. Because the publication is the one that sends information, okay? We want to send the information from the published element to the external references or the driven references. So I want to make the publication here inside this blue part. I double click on it, then go to tools and go publication, okay? I have already some published elements. I will remove them. We'll select them and click on remove. If I want to publish, I select the geometry I want. Okay, for example, I want to publish this one. Okay, I can publish features, I can publish parameters, even I can publish not easily accessible parameters. For example, this let's say not this feature. For example, if I want to publish the length or the thickness of this plate, I go to parameters, select this plate, and here I have some parameters that I can publish, which I cannot copy easily from the function directly. Okay, let's, for example, the first limit can publish. Okay, so now I have the length. I can change this name. Okay, let's see this later, but I can make the publication like this. Okay, if I activate this icon, this button, I can publish faces. Sorry, I can publish faces, I can publish edges, or even vertices. Okay, axis for the axis of cylindrical face, for example, go to other selection and select axis. We can also select the axis extremity, for example, of a cone. We right click on a cone, other selection, and we select extremity, which is the cone peak or the cone apex. Okay, so and these published elements, as you can see, are represented here in the tree. The length of the path, or the pad limit, the face of the plate, the edges, the vertex, the axis, and the cone extremity. Why do we need this publication, or why should we use this publication? Okay, so there is mainly four benefits of this publication. First is, as we saw, we can easily access and rename a geometry. Okay, if for example I have this element and I want to use them, I have to make frequent modification on them. Okay, sorry, let's make a publication. Let's change this one. Let's say this is length part. Okay, let's say face part. Okay, let's say edge part. Okay, let's suppose that I want to make many modification of this length of this part. Okay, so it's time saving to have this parameter closer closer to me than to go search for it inside the board body, inside the solid features, solid function, and double click and modify it. Okay, so here it's we have quick access to this parameter. I can change it here very quickly. Okay, see that then? I can change it very quickly. The same thing here for the faces. For example, if I'm creating a sketch here, it's not. Sorry, this plan is from another part. Okay. Let's say that I'm creating a sketch on this plan, and I want to quickly access the face I want to project. Okay, so I can select it here directly from the published element. I can also, as you see, that I can easily rename it, okay, and give it more meaningful name than just face or edge. Okay, so I have quick access to some geometries and parameters which not easily accessible. Okay, and also I can rename them. This the first benefit of the publication. It's the same benefit as shortcuts. When I use shortcuts, I can quickly access the folder and I can give it another name. Okay. Also, I can limit the selection of element to export. For example, it's better to have finite. Sorry for that, I have a video. I can limit the geometries that I want to export. This is better to have finite numbers of geometries to export than selecting anything coming to my way. Okay. For example, if I want sorry. For example, if I want to create a sketch inside this one, okay, let's say I want to create a sketch here. To have a limited number of external of published element, and with the option of limiting restrict external selection with published elements, I have to activate this button. In this case, I avoid the selection of some parts I don't want to export. Okay, for example, if I want to project this one, I can, because it's this face is published, but I cannot export or project this one because I have restricted the selection to the published element. Projection on the sketch failed. It cannot be projected because I restricted the selection to the published element. Okay. So this way I can limit the geometries I want to export, and in this way I can limit the communication between parts, and I can detect quickly where is the problem in case when I have an error between parts. Okay. The other advantage is that these published elements can be easily replaced. Okay. And the external references can easily have new references. Also, they can be easily reconnected. What is easily reconnected? For example, if I have a driving part, I want to replace it with another driving part, the new one will take the place of the older one, and it will drive all the driven part or the contextual parts instead of the previous part. Okay, so it will take easily the place of the previous driving part. Okay, let's see one by one. So to easily access and rename the data, I can to rename it, I just click on it twice, but with like we change the name of folders in window. Here is here is the publication. Just I click on it one time, then click on it another time, so I can have this field and I can use any name I want. Okay, this is for naming. To access the parameters or the intrinsic parameters, I click on this button and I can select any feature I want to access his parameter. For example, the radius of this this fillet, I can access it like that. Okay, this is about accessibility. Now to restrict the selection to some elements, some published element, as we saw, we go to options, infrastructure, part infrastructure, then we activate this case. Now we'll see what is to replace a publication. Okay, so to replace, there is different things to replace. Okay, let's see this as a typical links between two parts. Okay, so the driving parts control the contextual part. Inside the driving part, there is the original data and the shortcut. The original data and the published element. And this published element send the information to the external references. Now what I want to replace, what I mean by easily replace the original data, I want to have a new original data to the same published element. Okay, I want to have a new original data to the same shortcut and keep the external references linked to this shortcut. Okay, I don't want to touch the link of the contextual part. I want just to change a new original data to the same shortcut or to the same published element. Okay, let's see this. Okay, here we have the driving part, as usual, the blue part. In the blue part, there is the publication. Okay, each shortcut is linked to an original data. Okay, and we want to replace the original data with this new geometry. Okay, so we are going to replace the knuckle profile, okay, of the blue part, and we want to replace the center, okay, of the pin center. Okay, how to do that? We go to we have to be inside the the part design workbench. Then we go to tools publication. What are the elements we want to replace? We want to replace see the sketches, the knuckle profile, this one. Okay, so it's the knuckle profile. We selected in the list, then we select the new original data. Okay, in this case, the shortcut or the published element will take the new original data. Okay, now we have to update the orange part, the driven part, and let's see what result we get. Let's make update here, because we used not all the feature or not all the sketch, but we have used to create the orange part, we have used an edge. Okay, so we have to replace the edge as well, and we have, as you can see, the orange part was adapted to the new skeletal knuckle profile, replacing the old one. Okay, so this new knuckle profile is in the blue part. Okay, this one. Okay. Why the whole is not updated? Because we didn't replace the new pin center. Okay, so we go back to replace the new center. We go to tools again, publications. Where is the old center? This one is the old center, so it's named sketch door leaf. Sketch door leaf. We selected in the publication list, and we select the new center. And yes, we want to replace it, and click OK. and that's updated. Okay. So here we have replaced the original data. We acted on the driving part. Okay. So now we are going to see how to replace, let's say, the published source. What I mean by this: here, as usual, we have a driving part. Here we have a driving part and a contextual part. Now we want the external reference of the contextual part to be linked to another source, to another published source. Okay. So we the action will be applied on the contextual part, and we will need a new published element. Okay, we need to select a new shortcut, which leads to another data. Okay, to another original data, and this new published element can be inside the same driving part or inside the new driving part. So to do that, we have to go to this window of define the links. Okay, define contextual links, and we'll use this button of replace to be able to replace the new geometry. So let's see the application of this replacement in CATIA. So we go to Hinge Assembly again. Now we want to replace the source connecting these external references inside the driven part, inside the contextual part. What we want to do, we want to reconnect these external references inside the contextual part. We want to reconnect them to new published element. We want to reconnect them to new published source. All right. So I will insert a new driving part. So this yellow part, we want it to be, will contain the new source, the new references of these external references. Okay. So I'm going to change its position. We can keep the position, but I will show you that the contextual part will follow this new driving part. Okay. So we will apply in the change, the replacement on the instance. So I have to activate the context, right click on the instance, go to component and define contextual link. So here in the first column you will find the external references. I will show you that. So you open the external parameters, external references, go to component define contextual link. So if you follow here, we have the pin diameter, we have the knuckle half length, copy 5, not profile knuckle. So here these are the external references. These are the geometry or the reference, the geometry or the original geometry inside the driving part connecting these or driving these or controlling these external references. These are the previously pointed instance. In this case, these are the blue part. This is the name of the publication inside the blue part. This is the publication path. And now any replacement we will do will be here. So the new pointed elements. So even here, if we make the replacement, we will see the new publication path. We'll see the new driving. We will see the new driving geometry inside the new driving part. So let's make the reconnection. So we start one by one. For example, if we want to change the pin diameter, Okay, we select this line, we go to replace. Previously, this external references pin diameter was connected to this published element. Now we want to reconnect it to this new pin diameter, to this new published diameter. Okay, make a reconnect. Now we'll find new path. So this is the path of the new published diameter. Inside, connecting the geometry new parameter. So this is the shortcut. This is the path of the shortcut of this new original data inside the new driving part. And this is the new driving part. Okay, we'll do the same for the others. We want to replace the half length of the knuckle half length. Go to replace, we select knuckle half length. So we can just replace some references, okay, as we can. For example, if we click OK here, what will happen? As you can see, the driven part, the contextual part, follows the parameters inside the new driving part, but doesn't follow the geometry. Okay, so it has a new diameter as here. It has the new knuckle length as here, but it doesn't follow the position of the knuckle and the position of the whole hinge. So if we continue to do that, if we continue the replacement, we'll have it updated, all of it. Okay, so we will change this copy 5 is pointed to the sketch center. The publication is sketch door center, so we'll replace this one, replaced by the sketch door, leave center new. Okay, we'll connect now the profile knuckle with okay, the profile knuckle in the publication, replace, we'll connect it to the new profile knuckle. And what else here? The publication is sketch door references. We will connect them to replace to the sketch door references new, and we click OK. Here I recommend to update this contextual part inside the workbench. Okay, if I make the update now, let's see what happens. So it's okay, good. So now it make the update without problem. That's good. Okay, now as you can see, the contextual part now follows the new knuckle profile. It follows also the new sketch, the new pin center. Okay, and everything. Okay. This is how to replace the source of the external references inside the contextual part. Now we'll see the third type of replacement. In the first type of replacement, we replaced the original data, so the published element connects to a new original data inside the driving part. The second type of replacement, we saw how to replace the source of the external references, the published source of the external references. And in this case, we apply the replacement on the contextual part. Now we'll see how to replace the whole driving part, okay, with a new whole driving part. A new driving part with new published element with new original data. And we will see how to replace a whole contextual part, okay, with new external references. And this replacement will succeed in one condition, is that the new published element inside the driving part must have the same names as the old published element, okay, and the new external references must be connected to published element, okay, having the same name as the old driving part. How to do that in CATIA? Again, we'll open the hinge assembly again. What we want to do is to replace this whole driving part with a new driving part having published element with these same names, right? So the new driving part must have published element with the same names as these old ones. Okay, so I right click on the driving part, go to component, replace component, and we'll use this one, this part, the new driving part. Go to open. CATIA shows you this window and warns, it tells you the impact of replace on replace. Okay, it gives you information that these external references will be impacted, and these assembly constraints, this coincidence 1 and 1, will be reconnected. Okay, and make OK. And here we have a new driving part. Let's activate the part, the contextual part. It's better to apply the update when the part is activated. Okay, so here, because it shows us this window, so CATIA reconnected the old edge with the new one, close, and the update was made very easily. Okay, as you can see, the external references of the driven part reconnected automatically to the new published element. These are the new published element having the same name as the previous published element. Okay. Okay, to update the constraints, the assembly constraints of the pin, we activate the assembly, and let's make update. Okay, as you can see here, the pin, the constraints applied on the pin also reconnected automatically to the new driving part. Okay, to the new part. Now let's see how to replace the driving part with the new one. We go the same way. We go to the instance we want to replace, component, replace component. Okay, we'll replace it with this new driven part. Okay. Okay, let's make OK, and here the external references of this new driven part, of this new blue part, are connected automatically to this published element. Okay, because they have the path to the published element. Okay, so this is about reconnecting a new part, and this is the fourth advantage of the publication. Okay, what can be published? Almost everything. We can publish wireframes, features, we can geometric features, we can publish sketches, bodies. Solid features also can be published, although they cannot be copied and pasted, but they can be published. Shape features, faces, as we saw, and boundary elements, faces, edges, vertices, axis extremities, and parameters. Okay. Now, as we saw, when we replaced the new driving data, the new driving part, that the published element, the new published element, was connected automatically to the external references of the driven part, and was connected automatically to the assembly constraints. So it's better to use the published geometry to control the external references and to control the assembly constraints. So it's recommended to apply this assembly constraints on the published geometry. Okay, not just on any face you see. Okay, so it should be applied on published geometry, because if one day you want to replace this part, this driving part, The new one will reconnect to the external references automatically and to the assembly constraints automatically. Thank you for watching, and thank you for assisting. Thank you.